Internet. My name is Ren. This is Rants, a channel where I rant about many things that I care about with a particular focus on pop culture and politics. In this video, we're going to talk about a lawsuit filed on November 8th of 2018 by the Satanic Temple against Netflix and Warner Brothers. This lawsuit concerns the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and their use of a trademarked Baphomet statue, and I love everything about this.
Everyone at the Academy is horrible. I'm not an evil person. I just need to fight fire with hellfire. Satan, save us from the melodramatics of a teenage witch.
If you've been watching this channel for a while, then you know that I am a law student. I'm just about finished with my first semester of law school, and while that by no means makes me an attorney, it does mean that I think I have kind of a unique perspective on this case. What drew me to the law in the first place is that I have always loved stories. I was always that kid that read too many books, watched way too much TV. I was always, coming up with some kind of interesting story to tell, and I loved hearing other people's stories as well. And the law actually gives you a lot of opportunity to tell stories because you basically take the same set of facts and circumstances as the other side has, and you try to rearrange them or tell them in a narrative that encourages people to accept the theory presented by your client. And there's all kinds of amazingly weird things that show up in the law. There's all kinds of disputes that people need litigated that are just totally out there. And some of the stories that you hear are just amazing. For example, the company that owns the property of Sharknado actually sends out cease and desist letters in which they tell people that they own the rights to all Shark Storm stories. I love that. I love everything about that. So this case is really interesting because it is a copyright infringement case. The main thing that gets them through the courtroom door here is that the statues are very, very substantially similar. So while Baphomet is a public domain figure, it's a deity that's existed since around 1307, I think was the first time it was referenced by that particular name, and was previously associated with the Knights of the Templar, although I don't think they actually did worship Baphomet. The deity was later used in a number of different occult and mystical religions, and I most definitely am taking this directly from the Wikipedia page because I am not actually a Satanist, but I found all of this very intriguing. So Baphomet is typically depicted alone. It's normally depicted as a creature with the head of a goat and mostly masculine body, but it's often depicted with female breasts. I think it's supposed to represent the totality of the universe, but don't quote me on that because I am not a Satanist. So the statue that was created by the Satanic Temple is kind of unique and distinct because they created a statue that does mimic a lot of the other Baphomet iconography, although they did remove the breasts, but that's varied from depiction to depiction. But they also did add two children gazing reverently up at Baphomet, and that is identical to what is depicted in the statue used in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The other component to this case is the Satanic Temple actually takes a lot of issue with the moral use of its statue here. I almost think that they probably wouldn't have pursued litigation if it was just that the statue looked basically identical to theirs. They might have. They do like to stir the pot. In fact, they're more of an advocacy and political organization, I'd argue, than a religion. It seems that they exist more as a response to Christianity and to advocate for separation of church and state than they really do as a sincere religious organization that actually worships Satan. And although they do have values, like empathy that they like to espouse, and I think that's great, I think that their use of Baphomet and Satanism politically is part of what motivated them to respond here, because the use of their statue does also go along with the messaging that Satan and, a design very similar to Baphomet is how they depict Satan in this show. The argument is that the show depicts Satan as the villain and the bad guy, and the Satanists do all of the bad things in the show, and so the Satanic Temple takes issue with that. I love that. That's amazing. There has been a lot of speculation about what's going to happen as a result of this. A lot of people have been writing and posting articles about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina being removed from Netflix, or having all of those scenes altered that feature the Baphomet statue. That seems very unlikely on both counts. First of all, it's very, very unlikely that they will successfully get the series removed. Even if this case went to trial, and it's very unlikely that it'll go to trial because well over 90% of cases end up settling out of court. But even if it did go to trial, it's very, very unlikely that the court would agree that a reasonable remedy is to take down this series that involved hundreds of people, probably thousands of people, and millions of dollars to produce. So what most likely is going to happen is they're going to reach a settlement agreement. They might have to issue some kind of statement, but it's pretty unlikely that anything will happen to the Sabrina product that we have now. It might limit the use of the statue design in future seasons, but we'll see. At this point, there has been an update from Bruce Lederman, the attorney that is representing the Satanic Temple here, and he has stated that it seems like they're progressing towards an amicable settlement, which means that it probably will be something that's mutually agreeable to both parties, and it'll probably just be some kind of cash payout, which, as an audience member, will not affect us. Me. Whatever. So at this point, it's just a really interesting story. I don't think we have to worry about losing the show, and I think that it's a good reminder to entertainment companies that they can't really just rip off a design. I find it pretty ridiculous that the designer who created this prop tried to argue that it was just a coincidence that this statue looks completely identical in every way to the statue that is trademarked by the Satanic Temple. Like, they're so similar that when I was looking up reference photos, I actually had trouble distinguishing which was which, because there are a number of similar looking statues, because I think the Satanic Temple has more than one statue of this design at this point. Again, don't quote me on that. That just seemed to be the impression I got when I was doing research for this video. So I think that it's pretty reasonable that they sued, actually, and I think that the result's probably going to be reasonable as well. I wouldn't be too worried about it if I were you. So let me know what you thought about this video and about this lawsuit in the comments section down below. If you have any other entertainment lawsuits you'd like me to make a video on, let me know. If you like my videos, subscribe. If you don't, I am sure you'll tell me, but that is everything that I have for you. See you next time. Wiedersehen.